Hi there, this is Linda, and welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new here. Whether you're a journaler or not, every homeowner needs one of these house journals. Let's go ahead and dive right in. Okay, you guys, I have gotten so many requests to talk about my house journal, and this is something I've referenced in a lot of my other YouTube videos and over on Instagram, but I haven't really shared a deep look into what I mean and what this is. Whether you're a journaler or not, I feel like every homeowner should have something like this. Unfortunately for me, I didn't think of this until 2023. I am in my second home. This house I had built in 2020, so I really should have picked this up in 2020. But, hindsight is 2020, and I am going to do my best now to kind of catch it up. And if you are a new homeowner or you've already owned your home, it's never too late to start one of these because it has become such a lifeline for me. So first, some basics. This is a Hobonichi A5 5-year journal. It is not intended for this purpose, but you can use it however you want. You don't need this one. You could really use any journal. I think a 5-year journal works really well, but you're going to want something that has at least enough pages to have one per day and an index. So, what is a house journal? This is a journal where I record everything that happens related to homeownership, whether it is home improvement, repairs, everything, so that I have all that information in one spot. So, I have kind of toyed around with how I wanted to share this. And what I wanted to do first was just do a quick flip through. So there are some details in here that are a little bit personal that I don't necessarily want to highlight, but I was flipping through it and it doesn't have like my address or anything, so I think it's probably fine. So essentially the layout, let me just find a blank page in here. The layout for the 5-year Hobonichi has, the left-hand side has a section for each of the 5 years in the book. I'm going to use this for the entire time I own this house, so it's probably going to be way more than 5 years. I might end up getting a second one at some point if this one ends up being full, but for now my plan is to use this the entire time. So once I run through these years, I will just add detail. Then it has a full blank page on this side, which is a great spot for pictures, ephemera, whatever I need to put in here, or additional notes. So I have switched up how I've done it throughout the years and tried a few different things. So I'm going to show you kind of what works for me and what I've tried and didn't work. So essentially what I do is I write anything in here that is referenced to my home. You can see in 2023, I was trying to put some minor cleaning and tasks like that. I stopped doing that. That's not really that helpful. Some of it I want to know year to year. Like here, I did put away Christmas again because I wanted to write about taking down the lights outside because this is helpful information for when I do it in the future. I also have written down my property tax information on January 1st here. And essentially just whenever something happens, I put it in here. So we ordered new furniture for our living room. We've got some bookcases and a dresser. That was actually for the bedroom. I probably should add more detail to that. And then here, I called the assessor's office for tax information. Sometimes I also will add photos in here. So in January of 2026, we are redoing our bathroom. Well, getting it decorated. The fixtures and everything are staying the same. So here are some before photos that I took in December 2025, and I'm just writing down some notes about it. And then here we started the painting. So here's an in progress shot. I add in the paint swatches. I have a sticker from my painter, so I have information on his company. And then I put some details about the paint itself. How much did we pay? What was done? What color was the paint, what finish, and all of that went in here as well. So here again, we have more updates on the bathroom painting and more furniture. This was in 2024, totally unrelated to this project, but just happened to be on the same day. And so it's a good reference to have. So if I ever want to say, oh, when did I get that couch? How much did I pay for it? Where did I buy it from? I have that information in here. There are definitely some blank pages or pages that only have 1 or 2 entries. That's why I don't think I'm going to have a problem using this same journal for the entire length of ownership of my home. If I ever get to a page where I need to add something in and the page is full, I will probably just note it on the page before or the page after, especially stuff that goes on this side. And you'll see that I have that a few times in here. Here we got this new table, so I kept some of the information on what we purchased, put some details about it. Here we also picked up paint for a totally separate project, but it's all detailed in here because it all happened on January 10th. Here I worked on painting my craft room, so here's an update from that. I'm just flipping through January for now. Just a few notes of certain things. You can see I'm switching up my pen. I'm not really caring about that. And I'm just kind of identifying things as I do things. So like here, I put this as in 2025. I didn't put a date on this side. I probably should, and I probably will go back and add that in. On today's video, I am going to do a little bit of updating so you can kind of see how I keep up with this. But I'm just going to flip through January quickly right now. And as you can see, there's a lot of blank pages still, because how often do you do home repairs and improvements? Not every day. So having this detailed calendar works really well because I have a ton of space to add to it in the years to come. Okay, so the next question that I want to address is how do I find things in here? And at the very back, there's space for indexing, and I struggled with this and I messed up a few things, and it took me a while to get a system that I think is going to work. So so you have like a page per year, and this was what I had tried before as a system, and it just was taking me too long to update. I wasn't doing it, and I feel like there was going to be too much, there wasn't enough space to put everything I needed. So what I did was I set up these new trackers on these 2 pages in here, and I've only indexed through March. And so I will have to go back and add more, but I might work on some of that on this video as well. But essentially, each section of the house that I want to track separately, and I had some problems with smearing because I need better blotter paper, but each section of the house, so for example, my craft room, I have 1 through 12, which are the 12 months, and then I have 1 through 31 across the top, which are the potential days in the month. And then if there's an entry related to my craft room on like March 1st, I put a dot there. On January 5th, January 11th. So I know if I want to look at stuff related to my craft room, those are the days to go flip to. I also have this page here where I wrote out all of my paint colors for my entire house, because that is something that I definitely need to reference from time to time. I also made a note of what page you can find the actual page, the paint swatch from Sherwin-Williams, if I want to see that paint swatch and more details about it. So I do have that reference. And then here's a few more sections. For the sections, I broke them out, and these apply to my house, so it's not going to be necessarily the same for everyone's house, but I have my craft room, my reading room, my living room, my kitchen, laundry, pantry, and there's a half bath. All goes right here. My den and entry, my master bath and bedroom, and then my yard and exterior, other rooms. So I have like a guest room, and I have, I guess, a dining room, the basement. So it's like other places in the house that aren't referenced elsewhere. Oh, there's another bathroom upstairs. And then this is going to be other information, financial. So usually this is either tax information, or I also track things like weather events that might impact stuff like drainage and things like that. I'm going to reference that. Sometimes, depending on what it is, it might go into the yard and exterior. Sometimes I will put something in multiple categories if it impacts multiple things. I just basically want to keep in mind what is it that I'm going to want to reference. So today what I'm going to do is I'm going to do some updates in January. I have a few things to add from some recent work that was done. This is just extra because I wanted to fill the page. And the rest of these are from 2020. So what I'm doing is I'm actually going to work on going back and filling in gaps in here based on stuff that happened prior to 2023. Today, I'm just doing this one page, but I wanted to kind of show you what my process is for that and how I'm going to incorporate that information. So basically, what I'm going to do is put this on a sped up version and do a voiceover as I get this put together. But before I start that, I want to say I print this at home and I use Epson matte photo paper. And I just arrange this in Photoshop, but you can really use any program to arrange your photos on a page and print them out. I like using the Epson matte photo paper because you get a pretty high quality photo on a very thin paper. When you adhere stuff in here, it's going to get chunked up a little bit more. And I don't mind there being some chunk. I don't want this to get unreasonable. So I'm trying to keep things as thin as possible. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put you guys on voiceover, cut these out, update this. And then I think what I'm going to do is put on some music and do a flip through of my full house journal as how it reflects now. So you can see some of the updates and how I've documented certain things in here.
Okay, so my initial thought was that this was actually going to be a little bit of a process video where I could do voiceover, and then it ended up taking me only 5 minutes, which I should have expected because this journal is actually something you can keep up with very quick and easy, especially if you are just taking notes. And if you are someone who wants this record, but you're thinking, oh, I can't really do the photos, that's too much involvement, totally fine. You don't need to do that piece. Just keeping track of all of the things you do for your house and having it all in one spot is just so helpful. And having this format of a 5-year journal so that you have a page per date and you're able to see those patterns over time is just so helpful. As far as how I'm keeping mine, so I trimmed everything out, and then the first thing I'm going to do is put these updates in for it was just a couple days or the day before when I had filmed this. I had already written in what I needed to write. I was just adding the photos, and basically we had our handyman guy come over and do a few projects for us. The majority of them in our master bath where we recently got it repainted, and we added some shelves and a new mirror that he hung. So I had some photos of that, and then he hung a Japanese folding screen in our den for us. He did a few other things which I noted there, and along with how much we paid him, so I can have a record of that going forward. And then I just added the date and a few notes. Now I'm flipping back to add these photos from 2020. So these photos were actually from January 4th, 2020, but that page already had photos on it and the 3rd had nothing. So I'm going to go ahead and arrange a lot of these photos here on the 3rd, and I'm going to find out that they don't all fit on this day, and that's totally fine. I'm going to have way more photos from the build than I have from anything else, and I'm totally okay with every single page in here getting filled. In fact, I would actually really love that. So I'm adding some notes in here, and I'm getting this information from my Project Life album. Although I did not keep this journal at the time when we were building our house, I did keep Project Life, and I put weekly updates in my Project Life album about our house progress. So I have a photo of the house every week, and I have additional photos that I took that some of these were not actually in Project Life, but I did have them saved in that folder from that same visit. And then I had some notes in Project Life about what had happened that week, so I'm just adding it there. January was in the middle of building, but I'm just starting at the beginning of the year, and once I get later in the year, I will fill in 2019 when we started the build and add some of those details as well. I'm looking for another place to put these other 2 photos, and I'm just adding some notes about what they're photos of, and I will go through and do this for every house visit from 2019 and 2020 eventually, just not in this video. Okay, so now I'm going to put some music on and just do a quick flip through of the entire book. I do have to omit a couple pages for privacy reasons, but otherwise I just wanted to get you a picture of what this journal looks like now. and how many gaps there are, but how useful it still is. I'll pop back on at the end for some final thoughts.
hope this video and flip through gave you a lot of insight into how I use my house journal and how you can set one up for yourself. As you can see, there's still a lot of blank pages in here because as a homeowner, I'm not working on my house every single day. There's also a lot of blank pages in certain months like February because I'm usually traveling at that time, so I'm not home to do home stuff. I also feel like I need to add in a lot of stuff like I did earlier. I added in some of the photos from our build from 2020 and some of the notes that I had kept separately in my scrapbooks. I am going to continue going through and adding a lot of that in, and hopefully I will share an updated video at some point once I have a lot more filled out in here so you can see how this project is coming together. Let me know in the comments if you do something similar or if you are planning to start. Thank you guys so much for being here. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them down below. And as always, I hope to see you guys all in the next one. Bye.